And welcome to Grow Your Life Live this morning on Saturday. I want to talk to you about using the words that your target audience responds to. This is something that has been on my heart this week, specifically with clients I'm working with and myself, and learning how to communicate better. I've actually seen better engagement and response from people from this thing. Let me start by saying this. All of us have our own areas of expertise where we start from, where we have grown in experience. We've learned even a new vocabulary if it's something that we do. And then when we're marketing, we're expecting our target audience to know the words that we're using that are industry specific, that we learned over time, and we automatically assume that everybody speaks the language that we do. And this right here is a complete disconnect and a disservice to your audience that only serves the benefit of you, yourself, looking good and looking smart to your own colleagues or your own personal feelings, okay? Now, what do I mean by this? Let's say specifically in a internet marketing or Facebook ads, okay? If I use the words that the industry specific uses for Facebook ads, I would lose everybody, because there's very specific words like I can't even go into it because I don't do this that way anymore. So I try to communicate using the words that my target audience responds to, but there's words like KPIs and conversion rates and RPIs and CPC and all that a lot of people don't know what they are. All they care about is how can I get more customers. But if I was doing my videos only using these big words, it only does me a service of feeling smart and looking smart to my competitors or colleagues. And I've seen this happen way too often with people in marketing, is they disconnect from where their target customer is mentally in knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, and their own self-interest and feelings. And so they speak as if they're talking to somebody that has all the same experience they do, when their customer is just getting started and just wants to know step one. And this disconnect here completely turns people off and pushes them aside. One of the worst places that I see this that happens totally unconsciously too is in the realm of when we're talking about spirituality. People use these big words that are relevant to somebody who is in it with them, that has grown in wisdom, knowledge, understanding, and stature and all of that, but they're using it to somebody who is still growing and expecting that person to know what they're talking about already, when that person hasn't gone through the same experience to even know what you're talking about. And so the disconnect only does the service to make you look good to those that you are around, that may see it, that are your colleagues, and is actually based on fear of judgment that other people might say, well, you said this wrong, well, you did this wrong. In fact, I say, get focused on the result that you're trying to go after and less about just how smart I look. I want people to learn to talk in a way that gets them results. That's my goal with this here. There's a lot of ways to do that. I talk about them in my podcast, and then I make courses for people. But I stair step it. I don't expect you to understand all the details of JavaScript and coding and building a website when you've never done that before. And yet, so often, many people like you, or somebody you know maybe, will try to use certain words that are only relevant to them in their industry to describe what they're doing to cold prospects or lukewarm. And what does that mean? People that maybe know what you do, but they're not quite involved. And even I've seen this as well. When somebody becomes a customer, now we assume they know all of our language. Language has to stair step. So you need to use a baseline of language that all people understand. And what do I mean by language? Those are the words that we say, that we write, the specific words. Maybe instead of using a specific technical term, describe what that is to somebody. You don't even have to say what it is. You don't have to say that I don't ever talk about, I try not to talk about lookalike audiences, for example, on Facebook. What is a lookalike audience? I say it's this AI algorithm that Facebook came up with to find the people that buy your stuff. That makes sense to people. And then if that doesn't make sense, I'll say, well, there's programs that Facebook has all this information, and they actually help us find our target customer based on either past customers or an email list. Okay. And so that's how I can describe a very big thing to people. I don't even have to use the right words. Stop having to look right and be right and use all the right words when you're trying to describe to somebody what you're wanting them to take action in, when they don't even know what that is. It does such a detriment to people. This isn't about diluting what they're going to get or watering it down or dumbing it down. That's what I've heard people say. Well, I don't want to dumb myself down to a certain level. You don't have to. But for the people that haven't gotten to that level yet, you have to speak on their level. And that's what I'm saying. People, it's not dumbing it down, because otherwise that's saying people that don't understand this are dumb. That's not true. That's not true at all. People are actually very intelligent, very smart. They just don't know what they don't know. And so the idea is, when you're helping bring somebody in to either buy a product or service or a course that you're doing or whatever, use the language that they understand, the words that they understand, to walk them down a path of getting from where they are now to where they want to be. And that's not about using big words that people don't understand, that only your own colleagues would understand and would judge you on. Okay? This applies to a ton of different industries, and I'd love to hear examples in the comments of people of how this maybe has applied or not in your industry, or what you think, or your thoughts on this. I believe that if we can start to speak the language of who we are trying to impact, come to their level, not dumb it down, come to their level and talk in a personal way to another human being at whatever level they're at, we can then connect them to the next level, to where their breakthrough is. And then we can start to teach them and mentor. That's where mentorship comes in. The language, the words, the meanings, the new definitions of those things. So one of the alternatives is, instead of using big words, reword the definition, because you're not diluting what it is. You're actually helping somebody understand it who doesn't already know what those things are, for example. It only serves the benefit of saying, I'm right and I know what I'm talking about, and trying to prove that we know what we're talking about to people, to have to use these big words and explain ourselves so much. Okay? But if you can simplify it, keep it simple. Use the words that your target audience responds to, not the words that your industry or your colleagues would use when conversating back and forth. And if you do that in your sales and marketing messages, and go back to the past couple of videos I did about imparting vision to people, you're going to have a lot easier time with your sales copy and copywriting. And I'm going to talk more about copywriting here in the coming videos as well. But I really want people to understand communication first starts with a human-to-human connection, understanding people's psychology, understanding how people think, and then taking a genuine interest in helping another person reach their goals. Instead of just proving that you know what you're talking about, how can I help this person reach their goals? And when we start from there, we can accomplish anything, and we can help mobilize and connect and move and bring together groups of people to do great things, greater than even what one person could on their own. So have a good one, everybody. This is Grow Your Life. Join the hashtag Grow Your Life community on Facebook. And this week's podcast is going to be on how to make money on the internet. I'm going to be recording that. It'll go live on Monday, and we'll talk soon. Have a good one.